This is the perils of the junkyard. You inhale stuff that sends you to the hospital. Hey, Stevie Nunny here doing the Hubcap game at Berniston Auto Wrecking in Berniston, Massachusetts. This is the 17th Hubcap game, and the glorious bounty that is this mid-60s Chevy panel van just doesn't quit. So let's open it up and start. All right, look at all these beautiful hubcaps. Let's start with this right here. This is a Chevy Blazer four-wheel drive. This would be on the front where the hub would come out, the locking hub. And you gotta love how Chevy had these fake lug nuts on this thing, and they're held on each one with its own little, steel-based ferrous metal screw. And the crazy part is, look at the bolt circle on this thing. It's bigger than like a 65 back 66 Volkswagen, massive bolt circle. But again, this is from a Chevy Blazer, 1971, 2, whatever, four-wheel drive. On the other side of the coin, Ford Mustang right here, probably 67 Ford Mustang. And this is basically the deluxe wheel cover. They could be had with a bottle cap, believe it or not, but this is basically what most Mustangs would have had, 302, 29 two-barrel cars. The argent paint's kind of cool, gives this basic stamping a little bit of texture and sort of a three-dimensional look, but again, not fooling me, it's a one-piece stamping. Kind of cool, but these were everywhere when I was a kid on Mustangs, which were also everywhere. And speaking of Mustangs, the bones of the Mustang are the Ford Falcon. And here we have a very early 60, 61 base Ford Falcon. We talked about bottle cap, hubcaps, and here it is right here. Now, these never wound up on a Mustang, but you get into like 68, Mustangs could be had with a small hubcap like this. But this is Ford Falcon stuff. It's kind of high quality. It's stainless steel. It'll never rust. And again, it could have been a steel piece with silver paint, but no, Ford kind of paid up a little bit for these stainless caps on Falcons. Okay, all right, here's a little bit of Plymouth activity right here. And this is basically a Sport Fury wheel cover, 1965, I would have to say. We've seen these before on the show, and we can see how this basic hub, the cap itself is Sport Fury, but these little add-on gizmos right here that kind of give it the look of a mag wheel are what make it a Sport Fury, hey now. And again, they're held on again with these little ferrous metal type screws. But look at how that die-cast metal, that sort of pot metal crap, is starting to bubble up all by itself. But you got to wonder on this one here, look at that. It's basically turning into bubble-licious nothingness. You got to wonder if any mechanics ever put a socket on these things and try to take the wheel off. I hope not. Okay, Mercury Comet right here. This would be about 1966 Comet, I think. And again, one-piece stamping. No effort to try and make it function or do anything. We can see here that the vents are simulated, but the black paint kind of gives them a 3D look. But again, Mercury Comet base car, 1966 right there. Oh, Ford Granada. If anybody remembers the Ford Granada, it would basically took over for the Ford Maverick. It was theoretically a luxury compact car. And I remember, I think Saturday Night Live did a little comedy skit where they had a circumcision happening in the back of a Granada, because Ford actually had ads on TV where they had a guy cutting diamonds in the back of a Granada to show how smooth it was. So Saturday Night Live took it a step further and had a circumcision happening. Google it. Anyway, Ford Granada right here, 1975, 76. And from that same period in time, Plymouth Volare hubcap right here. This is classic stuff on a Plymouth Volare. You name it, these things were seen on them. 14-inch diameter. Never on the road runner. These are strictly for like the brome and just basic Plymouth Volares. Now Volare, of course, an F-body. Transverse torsion bars up front, 360, the biggest motor. Most of them had 3-teens and slant 6s. And here we have let's wait for it. Yes, Pontiac Le Mans, probably 1965. I always kind of like these wheels. They did a lot with a little. It looks kind of like a mag wheel with the open slots, and the argent paint and the die-cast center that kind of looks like the 8-lug Pontiac full-size wheels center cap, kind of the same look. And you can know that's not by coincidence. That is certainly part of the family design that Pontiac wanted to instill. Of course, full-size Pontiacs would be had with the 8-lug wheel, which had aluminum drum, perimeter wheel, and this kind of looks like it. But again, this is for the 14-inch wheel seen on a mid-size, Tempest, Le Mans type deal. Sometimes GTOs, I think. But again, the center cap is crimped on, right, like that. Kind of a weird deal. It's not screwed on. It's actually there to stay. It ain't coming off. Chevrolet. This is going to be a 3/4 or a 1-ton pickup truck or, panel van, something like that. But again, these are you know, very brutal. This is ferrous metal, it's steel of some kind, it's painted, and yeah, we can see it ain't stainless. This is starting to rot away. And again, this is basically budget, the blue bow tie, probably 1967, 68. These were seen on the, again, the 67, 89, 70, 71, 2 family. Nothing earlier or later than that, but kind of cool, but brutal. Speaking of brutal, from the other side of the coin, this is Ford. This is Ford like 1967, 68, 69 pickup trucks and Econoline, second gen Econoline. More steel construction, more silver paint, more rust. Yeah, no stainless steel here. They probably saved, I don't know, 80 cents a hubcap, but it adds up when you're building millions of vehicles times 4 vehicles. So there you have it. Chevy and Ford both cheaped out on these truck type hubcaps. But nothing cheap about this. Here is the symbol of excellence, or whatever they call it, the standard of excellence. This is Cadillac, probably 1958, something like that. And I love how the center ornament here kind of looks like an aluminum finned brake drum from an airplane, or any one of a number of GM Motorama show cars from the mid-1950s, which had these elaborate aluminum brake drums, which are supposed to be, before disc brakes became the thing, the elaborate aluminum airplane type drum. But again, we know better. This is just a hubcap, multi-piece construction, kind of cool. But again, this is definitely Cadillac late 50s, I would have to say 58 or so. Okay, from the other side of the tracks, Chrysler Imperial right here. This is going to be probably about 1963 or 4, and it's a multi-piece item. You can see it's got a steel outer ring which clips into the 15-inch wheel, stainless steel here, and again the center cap is lucite with a metal retainer screwed together. This thing weighs, I have to say, probably 4 pounds. You hit a good pothole with this thing and it's going to take somebody's head off. But again, Imperial, and you got to love this sort of turbine motif outer ring. And of course, Chrysler was deep into the turbine game in the early 60s and late 50s, and this is just kind of nice, man. You know, heavy duty, it's bogus. It doesn't do anything, but it looks cool. Helps us sell cars and keep the wheel from, well, being seen. Because bare wheels are kind of ugly for most people. I like them on a super stock, like a Mopar Max Wedge 62 3.4. Steel wheels look just about right. I don't want to see a hubcap on that. That's just me. Okay, speaking of wheels, 1965 Ford Galaxy, perhaps the 500 XL. And again, this has the sort of fake spinners on the hubcap that otherwise could be seen without the spinners on a base Galaxy. You can see the hole right there where the lucite trim would go on the basic car, but on the 500 XL, this massive 4-legged spinner covers it up, and again, it screws on. But this one here has had a little bit of trauma. The die casting is cracked, but again, this is a pretty rare hubcap if you need it. 1965 Galaxy 500 XL, I'd have to say right there, 14-inch. And Buick, 63 or 4 full-size Buick LeSabre, I would have to say. There's the Buick Tri-Shield right there, lucite plastic in an otherwise stamped stainless with external add-on die-cast metal fins, multi-piece construction. We can see where the rust is staining the stainless right there as it degrades, but the stainless does not. The green gum right here, sort of an anti-rattle effort on Buick's part to keep this thing from chucking and making noise. And again, it's kind of cool. Again, we see the aluminum brake drum motif stamped into the hubcap right there. Once again, emulating the look of the Motorama show cars of the 1950s, which had big brake drums that were exposed and meant to be seen. Okay, I'd say 1957 Chrysler, probably. It's a one-piece stamping, nothing too exotic. 14-incher. And it's interesting too that, you know it's a Chrysler, just seen enough of these, but it doesn't say Chrysler, Mopar, nothing on it. It's just basically a generic piece, but it is definitely from about a 57 or 8 Chrysler. Okay, Plymouth right here. This could be a generic hubcap. This kind of looks like the Plymouth Mayflower coming at you, but it's a little too vague. This very well could be a J.C. Whitney faker. It is quality. You can see where it basically is not, rusting. It's stainless steel. But again, full-size Plymouth, I think, 1965? I don't know. Hard to say. And speaking of bottle caps, Plymouth Division right here, and this wheel cover, and they just inhaled a piece of Rudolph. Anyway, this is the baby cap off of like a Plymouth Duster. Okay. Let's wrap this one up for now. This is the perils of the junkyard. You inhale stuff that sends you to the hospital. I'll be back tomorrow with more Junkyard Crawl. We'll see you then. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, give us a thumbs up, and pray for me.